The Green Knight got one of the biggest glow-ups with one single change, and that's one of the best changes that any single entity character in particular can get. That's this one right here. Perfect Vigor. It's good for all units, to be honest. I think we all know just how good it is now that Vigor is represented live on unit cards. And basically what it means is in the late game, this guy can outduel a lot of things, and in particular, he can potentially outduel things that deal magic damage in melee, which otherwise would definitely kill him. With that Perfect Vigor trait, he has a much better chance of not only surviving, but actually getting to use his own abilities to their best effect. He's got great melee attack, pure armor-piercing damage, 430 armor-piercing damage as an ethereal unit. Of course, Frostbite as well. He's got 15% ward save from Blessing of the Lady, which is permanent because he's unbreakable. He's got Vanguard, little weird, like, forest self-heal. And, yeah, he's ethereal, so he's got the physical resistance, of course. For the rest of the build here, we've got a Prophetess Lore of Life. Looks like a front line of Foot Squires and some Spearmen at Arms, Peasant Bows with Pox Arrows, and some Knights Errant, Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis to back them up. Beast Slayers of Bastogne got a huge buff as well, getting plus 10 AP damage, which, to be honest, their weapon strength before was pretty terrible, but it actually makes them potentially pretty decent now. Yeah, then we've got the Grails you saw riding in there to back them up. Against them, ODM Seagods here. I should say this was submitted by Holy Spanner. Seagods here is Astrogoth Ironhand and the Chaos Dwarfs, Demon's Tongue. Infernal Fireglaves here as well. Got some Chaff, got some Chaos Dwarf Warriors. They also got a huge buff. A lot of units on Chaos Dwarf Warriors got buffed. In particular, I think like a lot of the Chaos Dwarf. I think maybe did all Chaos Dwarf Infantry get a direct buff? Anyway, right now, the only thing that actually has magic damage in their build is Astrogoth. I say right now because he also has Flaming Sword of Ruin, which means he can give it to other things, of course. But keeping in mind with what I said about the Perfect Vigor, as this train just absolutely runs shop on this front line of Foot Squires and sends the majority of them running to the hills, is the Green Knight really just needs to avoid fighting Astrogoth as much as possible until the late game. And especially can get a good engagement in the late game when Astrogoth is exhausted. The Green Knight should be able to put him down. Although, you know, Astrogoth's a tough opponent, certainly. They have pretty comparable stats, honestly. You know, without any Vigor considerations. That means that with Vigor, it should give a pretty clear advantage to the Green Knight. So, let's see how that plays out. Of course, you have to survive until then and win enough of the other parts of the battle where that would actually be a meaningful interaction. So let's take a look here, as these Knights are definitely having a pretty tough time. The Bretonnians here definitely pushed forward, captured that objective of conquest, and the archers are taking up a pretty good position to just be able to fire in while their melee units are paying a terrible price. A lot of value being lost here. One Foot Squire did manage to kind of get up and around in the flank. Green Knight's doing a good job hunting the train right now. It's a good high-value target he can keep himself occupied with while staying away from Astrogoth. Meanwhile, over here, yeah, the Foot Squires and the Spearmen at Arms also doing a nice job of just kind of, you know, putting their bodies on the line. And that's really all you need at this point. Grail Knights get in and get a great scoop on that Magma Cannon, but the Bull Centaur Renders are going to counterattack. Swing in with their great axes, put the hurt on these Grail Knights. Granted, Grail Knights will do okay. Prophetess also gets caught here, but gets one of the nastiest assaults of stone I have seen in a while. A lot of you might not even know what this is. I hear all the time whenever I play the Prophetess and use someone on someone, they say, "What was that?" Well, it's called Assault of Stone, and it's an item she has. It's a one-time use scroll that gives nice AoE damage of falling rocks. Really nice. Got a huge damage burst on that Infernal Fireglaive there, and bailed herself potentially out of dying. She is on foot, which is pretty hilarious. Extremely cheap cost, I would imagine, but doesn't make her combatant, so she just gets destroyed there and runs away, which is fine. Meanwhile, the Green Knight's still hunting the Demon's Tongue, which is in the back line. Seagods, while I kind of understand like wanting to get the disruption here as much as possible, I would definitely run the Demon's Tongue over here and have Astrogoth kind of fight near it as much as possible. Dissuade the Green Knight from trying to finish it off here, but it's probably going to go down. That Frostbite makes it very tough to get away from, certainly, and the Green Knight being 84 speed means it's, yeah, functionally impossible once he's caught up. But here, Magma Cannon also getting broken off. Yeah, the Grail Knights Definitely taking some pretty severe damage. I think they got friendly fired by that Assault of Stone a little bit there. Some healing going to come in. Better late than never, I guess. But only 3 unit models left. Not looking good. Flaming Sword of Ruin on them. And Ash Storm just looking for that massive damage spike. So Green Knight runs in here while these Bull Centaur renders are actually charged up with magic. It's a good thing he gets a Terror out there. He actually probably would have taken a big face full of damage. Although, I don't know, they're pretty low. Probably not, but still. The double synergy spell combo is pretty good, but unfortunately, just not any units to actually do it, right? But here comes Astrogoth. Okay, so he is very tired at this point. If the Green Knight chose to fight him here, he would be at a decent stats advantage. Oh, that's the wrong button. There we go. Yeah. So we can see here the Green Knight's, he's got some stats over Astrogoth right now, but why necessarily take this engagement this early? You could still get him one more tier down of Vigor here and potentially try and get a more favorable engagement. Yeah, let's see here. The rest of the Bretonnian forces try and rally together. Beast Slayer is going to get an Earthblood. They'll actually be a pretty good candidate for healing. Well, maybe not. They have only 42 unit models left. But, yeah, okay, here we go. So even with just a modicum of support, and mostly being away from the Chaos Dwarfs support, right? You don't want this to be an uneven fight. If anything, even or slanted in Bretonnia's favor. Even then, a little cycle charge. Utilize that greater speed and Frostbite might as well, right? Magma Cannon gets a nice shot in there to take out those Foot Squires. Beast Slayers also continuing to try and fight. Yeah. Flaming Sword of Ruin there on the Bull Centaurs as they try and fight, but here the archers are going to do their peasant's duty and sacrifice their bodies for the Green Knight as he bravely disengages. And the Flaming Sword of Ruin, once again, is somewhat wasted. This isn't a great engagement for the Green Knight to try and fight Astrogoth, although he does slay one Bull Centaur there and just immediately rides off, which is going to frostbite the whole unit as well and kind of prevent them from pursuing. Oh, big hits on Astrogoth. And that pure armor-piercing damage, especially when he's able to attack in the rear of an enemy, bypass their melee defense, and in particular, somebody who's already probably exhausted now. Yep, getting that massive exhausted debuff penalty. You see stats significantly down in every way, and yeah, just not doing good at all. Multiple successive hits, and you already know, I don't even really have to look at the overall health bars. Green Knight absolutely dominating. So again, this is one thing. Perfect Vigor is such a powerful trait. It's one thing that you can give, especially to a hero like the Green Knight, a legendary hero who I think it's probably appropriate on. I mean, he's a ghost. Like, why would he get tired? But I don't think necessarily that all ghosts should have Perfect Vigor. Let's not get too crazy here, because like Banshees are already insane, to be honest. Vampire Counts also got a lot of buffs. Not sure how I feel about that. Just kidding. They probably needed it, even if I'm a hater. Anyway, let's talk about that another time. As the Green Knight just slays 5 for 5 right there. Those Bull Centaurs. Oh man, it's so cool. I admit, I'm a Bretonnia fan. I do enjoy the classic Arthurian legend aesthetic and just overall Bretonnia-ness. So love to see the Green Knight actually be relevant in the game. There will be some matchups where he's just straight up unusable, like Zinch, for example. But there will be plenty of matchups where your opponent doesn't have the greatest access to magic damage, or even if you can limit his exposure to it until, especially late stages in the game, when he just becomes such a force of nature that few things are going to be able to challenge him. Yeah, maybe other things with Perfect Vigor. But, nice little heal there from the Prophetess, who herself stays alive. I'm curious, that Assault of Stone was like 1,000 damage value, probably just from that. Nice stuff. Although, no, she's been casting some Awakening in the Woods as well, I should say. We did see some of those in the backgrounds. So, yeah, I guess still a few regrouped units over here. Yeah, we got some Fire Glaives and some other stuff. Not really a lot worth talking about. Yeah, Bretonnia is just going to kind of set up here, run around a little bit, waste some ammo, and then draw him into the kill zone. A couple volleys from the archers. Green Knight charges in, and the leadership takes hold. So big thanks to Holy Spanner for sending that one in. Definitely glad to see the Green Knight performing. Yeah, almost 4,000 damage value, 16,000 damage dealt. I mean, that's a legit performance for sure. Against a good opponent. I mean, Seagoz is not a pushover player, and he definitely fought well himself. Magma Cannon, a nice pick. Overall, Chaos Dwarfs seem like they're probably in a much better place. Wow, both the Fireglaves. I mean, Fireglaves have already been decent, but with buffs, definitely seem like they could potentially be really nasty. I don't actually remember. Did I read through? I didn't do a video of it, but I'm trying to remember if I actually even looked at the Chaos Dwarf notes. I might have totally just skipped over them. Someone was telling me they got a bunch of stuff, though. Yes. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, really here, it's the Green Knight who does the big carry. There's a few other units who are going to get some kind of fun tactical contributions, but from a raw value perspective, I mean, it's really the Green Knight doing the ladies' work. So that's pretty much it for me for today. Definitely you'll be seeing a lot of him, and if you're playing against Bretonnia, you're going to need magic damage again. It was kind of a thing for a while that you needed magic damage against Bretonnia. Well, I say a while. Warhammer 1 and 2, up until Warhammer 3, you know, a certain point, when they changed it to the Blessing of the Lady, I should say, to damage resistance. Suddenly you didn't really need magic damage that much against Bretonnia anymore. Well, guess what? Now you do, because the Green Knight is definitely back. So that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.